the bag. Here's the bag if you need.
Thank you. I'll probably steal two, just to have them in reserve. I don't have to give you money. You should get the fancy ones.
Let me do this.
Oh, we
I
ready?
get the ones,
You're too close. Back away.
I get the ones that taste like lemon pledge.
Are we ready?
Yeah, where's your mask at?
Yeah.
I got it right here.
Are you using a different mask every time?
No.
Sit down.
Okay.
We ready? Good afternoon. I'd like to reconvene the special council meeting of the city of Joliet from April 13th is 3 p.m. on April 14th. We have a roll call.
Mayor Odekirk,
Here.
Councilman Dickinson,
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Here.
Councilman Hug,
Here.
Councilman Morris,
Here.
Councilman Mudrin,
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman,
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Here.
Councilman Turk. Councilman Turk.
Here.
Let the record show that Councilman Dickinson, Councilwoman Gavin, Councilwoman Reardon, and Councilman Turk are attending the meeting remotely. This is a continuation from the special meeting that was originally held yesterday at 5:30 p.m., continued to this morning, which is April 14th at 9 a.m., and was suspended and continued to today at 3. This is a continuation of the public hearing for Council Memo 222-20, which is a resolution approving and authorizing execution of a pre-annexation agreement for 1,260 acres with the Eastgate Logistics Park Chicago LLC for Compass Business Park.
All right, are we ready to start up again? Okay, punch them through.
We have Amy on the line here.
Hello, Amy, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Hi, this is Amy Marshall, 16124 Carlos Circle, Manhattan. Am I ready to go?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me just start by saying that it's irresponsible to remove vital working farmland. We are seeing a shift in our country as this pandemic is happening. We're bringing manufacturing back to the U.S. In fact, in the last few weeks, the amount of foreign shipments is down so significantly that it's being publicized on the news. This has opened Americans' eyes as to what is needed here, local manufacturing of goods and farmland. Our farmers are what have been keeping food on the shelves this past month. At this time more than ever, we can see how important our farms are. The last thing we need is a concrete monstrosity that will ruin working farmland. And with the shift in dynamics, will most likely sit empty since goods from China will become non-existent. This is why North Point needs to move quickly on approval so their investors can't pull out in the wake of this shift. This is wrong on so many levels. So many groups, schools, religious groups, neighborhood associations, warehouse workers, and citizens have been told that they don't want to do it. And you think that the $2 million that they are throwing at us will put a Band-Aid on the financial situation, but it won't stop the hemorrhaging. In January, Joliet spent over $12 million on salaries and general expenses. That doesn't include the rest of the expenses in January for other departments. Even the $6 million won't help, and we won't see it until the end of the build-out is complete. So you should all be ashamed of yourself for going against your constituents. They voted you in to give them the best Joliet while listening to them. But now you're listening to North Point and the interim city managers who don't even live in Joliet. This is all so shameful, and I hope that whatever money North Point puts in your pockets or the gifts that they give you under the table are worth ruining all of our surrounding towns forever. This will end our area as we know it. We will no longer be able to be a community. Your constituents will have betrayed every level, every yes vote, especially those of you who have ran your campaign on the warehouse memorandum. Please vote no to North Point and find another way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You want to respond before?
We have Mark on the line?
Get your facts straight, Amy. Thank you.
Mark, it's Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and give a comment, please?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilwomen. My name is Mark Pavlos, and I live at 35 West Gordon, formerly of 917 Pearson Drive, over in the Bridal Reach Acres subdivision. I just wanted to say that a huge thanks. You're showing right now, you're proving your dedication to the City of Champions, and I thank you for this open act of government transparency. I just wanted to show my support for the North Point development, and a few reasons is that amid all the drastic unemployment, especially surging unemployment over the last 2 to 3 weeks, North Point's new Compass Business Park is actually a unique gift handed over to Joliet on the silver platter. The employment potential is going to arrive just in time to see many of us that are already laid off through the summer months and into a very forlorn, destitute economic slump that's going to happen probably on into October, November, and then well into next year. Now, by supporting North Point's development, Will County will catapult its families into a better, more sound, safe, and secure environment, well above neighboring counties. And certainly we're above the grade for neighboring states, such as Indiana and Wisconsin. Our working families really depend on this opportunity. Common sense guides us to pass and immediately propose the commencement of Compass Park's permitting and construction. Thusly, please do not delay. The City of Joliet has given every opportunity to their citizens to voice their opinions regarding the zoning and annexation of this property. We have heard from the developers, concerned tradespeople, council people, and angry residents alike. Don't be naive. I ask that you place the needs of our working families, our unemployed, and our frontliners to the forefront. Please pass Council Memo 222-20. Thank you for all the hard work that you're doing now, and you've already done. God bless Joliet. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Gary on the line?
Gary, it's Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and make your comment, please?
It's weird.
Mary.
I'm sorry,
Hi, my
Mary.
name is Mary
I'm
Mangan,
sorry.
and I have been a lifelong resident. Yes.
Go ahead, ma'am. I'm
Yes?
sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Mary Mangan, and I have been a lifelong resident of Elwood, Illinois. When the proposed development came to Elwood, I originally sat through hours of North Point sharing their rose-colored plans of foliage, bike paths, and dim lighting filled with many open-ended possibilities they tried to pass off as promises, using verbiage such as might, intend, and even still last night tried to align with decent companies. If they intend to do irreparable harm to our farmland, shouldn't they be required to use absolutes in what they're offering? One argument made by North Point that kept sticking in my mind was when they were repeating, they claimed that the park would be funded by revenue generated by the project. We're surrounded by empty warehouses. How are they ensuring their project will fill? The project that's not ideally located. Center Point isn't half full, and yet they're closer to the highway. They're located on the side of 53 that has the railroad. Is there honestly not a better location in this whole country than between two national landmarks, two primary schools, two already overcrowded, highly dangerous highways, and a much-needed farmland? After their original failed filibuster, I sat through many more hours of well-spoken, well-researched locals who were able to see through the empty promises, pointing out the hazards that would come with this project. Pollution of light, noise, and air throughout our towns, including the National Cemetery in Tallgrass Prairie, that is our responsibility to protect. As I sat in the bleachers of the school, after the village hall was too small to support the bodies of those opposed, I kept hope. No intelligent person, unless there was some personal gain at stake, could listen to these comments that I was hearing and still give their vote to the project. North Point or Eastgate or whatever may promise their bridge, which they currently don't have and won't ever have the approval of the village of Elwood. They can't promise to stop the truck traffic from staying off residential roads. The trucks currently don't abide by the signs that are posted stating they're not allowed. I live on a main drag in town where there are signs posted on either side, and I can count 8 trucks on any given day sitting in my living room 30 feet away from my front door. I've been blocked from my driveway as they get pulled over by our hardworking police. Who's responsible for staffing more law enforcement when the truck numbers multiply exponentially? Who's responsible for keeping our roads, seeing as our infrastructure is already failing? I have family members that refuse to cross the bridge on 80, not wanting to be victims to its inevitable downfall. Throughout this whole process, I've heard elected officials state that you know more than we do. You know what's best. If you truly know, why don't you share that information? They've been sharing nothing but empty promises, all that have been refuted by research done by our amazing, dedicated locals. If you took the time to go to Kansas, do you take the time to read the opposition? Are you listening closely to the facts stated now? Have you read each word of the submitted written comments? I'm sure my comment doesn't mean much to you, but doesn't the fact that the overwhelming majority who are willing to give their time during this pandemic are so against it, doesn't that mean something? Some of you who ran on the campaign promises of a moratorium on warehouses, was that merely a campaign intention? This project will not bring any benefits for the short term. See the example of North Point. It will not be able to stop the flow of traffic of air trucks. Look at the statistics on how many times Brandon Bridge has been closed due to truck damage. And it's detrimental in the long run by changing our agricultural community into a concrete wasteland. You're supposed to be representing us, not the businesses from several states away. If you are taking note of where people are from and notice that many are from the surrounding neighborhoods, that's because they're the most affected by this. You say there are no permits without the bridge. The proposed land is in Elwood, and they've already said no. I, like so many others in our neighboring towns, are vehemently opposed to this project, and you should be too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We have Marilyn on the line.
Who?
Marilyn?
Marilyn, this is Mayor Bob Odeker. Can you please give your name, address, and make your comment?
Hi, my name is Hannah Peckett. I'm from Shanahan, and I would like to voice my support for the proposed business park in North Point. My husband is a local 150 operator and relies on projects like this to support his family, especially during these unstable times with the COVID crisis. Work has been hard to come by with the current situation in the world, and a project like this would ensure a stable income for our growing family. We hope to move to the city of Elwood or surrounding area and start our family there. As long as this project is ongoing, we know that we will have an income to support this. I thank you for your time, and I urge you to please vote yes.
Thank you.
We have our next caller on the list.
Hello, this is Mayor Odeker.
Hi, this is Marlene Danke.
Go ahead, ma'am. Thank you.
It's actually not Marilyn, it's Marlene, but that's okay.
Okay.
I have been a lifelong resident of Joliet and the Will County area. Individual decisions made by county and city governmental units continue to deteriorate the quality of life in Joliet and Will County. 5 years ago, I was involved in trying to get leaf birding in Will County stopped and to mandate mulching and picking up of yard waste. That failed. 2, then we have the Canadian railroads coming in with all kinds of positives towards increasing railroad traffic and all kinds of promises to work on the obstacles. The problems have come, the obstacles have not been taken care of. Instead, we have increased pollution and traffic, which impacts emergency and other people to Silver Cross Hospital. I have counted upwards of beyond 100 cars stopping ambulances and people from going different places, and also increasing the pollution. Now we have North Point wanting to further impact our traffic, our wear and tear on our roads and bridges, and increase the air pollution. We already have a number of truck farms, Amazon, etc., on major roads and in this area. Each time the addition is made, the rationale is increased funding for governmental parties. Enough is enough. I have a hard enough time breathing and traveling in Will County. The EPA has indicated that each year the quality of the air has gone down in Will County, and their ratings are taken in the inside of the city of Joliet, not on the outskirts. I do not want my grandchildren to inherit these problems or the bad air. Quality of life is much more important than quantity. There is not an infinite amount of air. Instead, you have a definite increase in poor air causing asthma, lung problems, cardiac issues, diabetes, and other health conditions exacerbated by bad air. Thank you very much, and please do not allow North Point in.
Thank you.
We have Lonnie on the line.
Lonnie? Lonnie, this is Bob Odeker. Can you please state your name and address and make your comment?
Yes, I'm Lonnie Posley. address 4704 Rye Hill Drive, Joliet, Illinois. I'm for North Point. Had an opportunity to fly out to Kansas, and I understand that Kansas is not Joliet, but a lot of times we look at models in order to say yay or nay. And what I saw, I did see affordable housing out there. That was a plus. I also researched their investment into the college, also into the high school programs, which was a plus. At the same time, I saw a bridge that will allow the trucks to stay on the bridge, a turnabout, which was also a plus. So I'm for North Point. I want to tell you thank you for this opportunity. Anytime economic development, I feel that it's a plus. So I'm for North Point.
Thank you.
We have Berniva on the line.
Reneva, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and make your comment, please?
My name is Beneva McCullum. I live in Joliet, 1203 Brentwood Place. I'm also part of South Suburban Region Black Chamber of Commerce and the membership director. I am calling in support of the North Point Campus Business Park. I want to say that North Point will bring in 1.5 billion investment in the community that will bring jobs and economic opportunity to the entire Southland region. This project is crucial to the future development of the area. The build-out of the business park is expected to create up to 1,600 construction jobs annually, while the complete development is expected to generate up to 4,500 full-time, good-paying jobs. Campus Business Park Master Plan will provide a path to economic opportunity and access to good jobs that are essential to creating better lives for families, transforming neighborhoods, and positioning future generations to reach their full potential. These opportunities would serve as a lifeline to many families and communities while chartering a career path for many residents, including many who are currently looking for work. The investment will have a direct impact, creating good-paying jobs and offering workforce development training and employment preparedness, all of which are essential in achieving successful career goals and for South Suburban and Will County families. For those who say these jobs aren't the kind they want for the community, I want to tell you that my community wants these jobs. They want the opportunity to build a career. In other words, it's not up to others to dictate what other people, especially those without jobs, should want, especially when they don't have the same opportunity as you. New revenue for classrooms. Help our school bridge the funding gap and provide teachers with the resources they need to achieve success. Saying no to everything isn't an option. Our community needs jobs. Our community need opportunity, and that has been afforded to others. The similar business park outside Kansas City, which I had an opportunity to visit, has not only grown into a major logistics hub, there's other growth. Residential, commercial, retail has grown along with it. New housing development is growing up next to the warehouses, and which it has brought on new business jobs, which are all assets to what's a growing and stable neighborhood. Campus Business Park will generate an estimated $18.7 million in annual local property tax revenue upon build-out, plus new local sales revenue and millions of dollars into a community enhancement fund. Underlying key points. In addition to to the 18.7 million in local property tax, 3 million annual in property taxes for the city of Joliet, 1.2 million for Will County, 6.
We have Andy on the line.
Hello, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you state your name, address, and your comment, please?
My name is Andrew Noderer, and I am calling to voice my opposition to the North Point Development's Compass Business Park. As a resident of the area for more than 35 years, I've seen Joliet transition from a town people were proud to live in to a town they are afraid to even mention in conversation. Greed and corporate pandering have turned a once proud municipality into a city that's full of crime, vacant warehouses, and empty buildings. Jefferson Street alone used to be bustling with activity and thriving businesses. Now businesses are closing for good every single day. The infrastructure of Will County cannot and will not support additional developments of this type. Infrastructure improvements slated for the I-80 corridor in Joliet will not be completed for many years, if at all. Not only that, but those improvements address only major roads and highways. Our city streets are in the worst condition I've ever seen them. The summer months are an endless slog of closures and attempts to repair failed roads. Patches, quick fixes, and Band-Aids are everywhere. Our roads have become a danger to motorists and pedestrians alike. Infrastructure is just one of the problems the city is currently facing. The city of Joliet is likely to run into serious water shortages by the year 2030. City Council voted recently to build a pipeline into Indiana to draw water from Lake Michigan, a move that is likely to double, if not triple, water bills of residents already burdened by some of the highest combined tax rates in the country. 1 acre of farmland collects approximately 27,000 gallons of water from a 1-inch rainstorm. Projects like Compass Business Park, when fully built out to as much as 3,000 acres, will prevent 81.5 million gallons of rainwater from reaching our aquifers per inch of rain. That rainwater will run straight off into the sewers and end up in rivers and streams instead of being allowed to replenish the aquifer. Seems like a great plan for a city facing a water crisis. The last point I want to make is to the members of the City Council. At times, your behavior in this hearing has been disrespectful. Your lack of interest, perceived or otherwise, in what your residents are telling you goes to show you that you have no business being the leaders of this city. City Council members have been seen on video passing notes, passing their cell phones back and forth, and whispering to each other during others' presentations. This behavior is unacceptable and should not be tolerated. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We have Erica on the line.
Erica, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you state your name, address, and make your comment, please? Hello, Erica?
Oh, yes, hello, I'm here, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, my name is, oh, am I on?
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Erica. I live on the south side of Joliet, right off of Richard Street and I-80. I am calling in to voice my opinion on the Compass Business Park, and my opinion is a resounding yes. We had the, I'm with the South Suburban Region Black Chamber of Commerce as well, and we had the opportunity to go visit their business park in Kansas City. From my understanding, this business park that is coming to Joliet is going to be modeled off of that business park. And we had the opportunity to meet with some of the warehouse workers, some of the residents, and to see for ourselves firsthand what the traffic and the development looked like. In addition to what everybody else has been saying with the millions of dollars in annual revenue in property taxes and such that are going to be coming to Joliet, in addition to the sales tax revenue and everything else that will be coming to Joliet, we also saw an area that was economically booming. There were grocery stores, hotels, restaurants, new residential developments that had all come to this area because of the growth that they had experienced from the Compass, or from their business park. In addition to that, we spoke with some of the warehouse workers. They were not just entry-level workers, but there's a lot of room for growth. A lot of people are concerned about making sure that their residents get jobs that are not just entry-level, that are not just the lowest level of warehouse workers, but we spoke with some people who had actually seen growth and had seen their careers expand through working at these warehouses. A lot of the warehouses that have come, at least through North Point, have been pretty major companies. We've seen Amazon, Chewy, some big American companies that have come through there. The tax revenue that they are providing to the cities that surround and that surround the business park have been, we've just seen from our own personal experience, there have been a decrease in property taxes, an increase in the school performances over the last 10 years, a decrease in unemployment. There have been people who have been able to buy in the neighborhoods that they are working in, and I cannot fathom or understand why somebody would be against such economic development in such a big city. I'll keep it short. I'm at work, but thank you for giving me the time.
Okay, thank you.
We have Patricia on the line.
Patricia, this is Mayor Oderkirk. Can you state your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Patricia Kelly, and as you have already heard on numerous occasions, I don't want to repeat the same things. You've heard about the inability of the infrastructure to handle the additional truck traffic, the effect this will have on the quality of life of your residents and neighboring communities with air and water pollution, and the devastating effect this will have on property values. And as people will avoid Joliet, not come into the area to walk along the landscaped paths of North Point. The presentation by North Point was painful to watch again and looked like a sales pitch to a community desperately looking for answers to help improve their financial situation. It is not reality and not an answer to your financial problems. It is fantasy and wishful thinking, merely an attempt to manipulate you in their hopes to get you to move forward when there is no urgency to do so at this time. That is readily apparent and will ultimately be an albatross for your community, particularly at this unusually difficult economic time. It is also unfortunate that you elected to proceed with this special meeting against the advisory opinion from the Attorney General's office, recommendations from public officials, direct violation of governor's directives, and lacking requisite notice by statute. I understand the court yesterday indicated that you moving forward in this way is shady and does a disservice to the public. I do not believe any reasonable person can or will conclude that your actions were warranted or even lawful. Instead, it shows your lack of concern for your most vulnerable area residents and neighboring communities. So why would you want to do anything that would increase your likelihood of protracted litigation when it could easily be avoided by tabling this vote? Can Joliet afford that? Why are you not voting on this project after the necessary bridge is installed and after there is contiguity? While the city might eventually reap some benefit from this project, is it worth the cost? Can you be that myopic? What happens when the residents of the neighboring communities stop going into Joliet to support your businesses and restaurants, since you are not concerned with being a good neighbor to them or concerned with their welfare? Will the loss to those businesses and to the city be worth the small financial benefit you may eventually receive from North Point? What happens to the residents in that area of the project site? What happens when you cannot control the truck traffic, which is already problematic and dangerous in Joliet? If this is such a wonderful project, why are the only officials willing to say yes, those of you sitting there? Why do CenterPoint and other industrial parks in the area still have significant vacancies? Because the demand is not there. So why are you willing to take valuable farmland, which is greatly needed by all, in the hopes that North Point might be different? At this time, businesses are struggling to stay afloat and record numbers of individuals are filing for unemployment. Our focus should be on working with our local businesses to help them remain in business, which results in real jobs to the area now. And to those of you who ran on a platform that you were not supporting North Point, I certainly hope your vote reflects that promise to your constituents. If not, you only reinforce the public's lack of confidence and trust in elected officials and prove that your word means nothing. North Point does not belong in Joliet or in any populated area. Who would want this to be their legacy? I urge you to vote no, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We have Ronald on the line.
Ronald, it's Mayor Oderkirk. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Yeah, hello. My name is Ron Adamski. I'm a Manhattan resident. Good afternoon. First, I want to thank all the essential workers and anyone else helping out during this time. I've been listening to all the speakers today and yesterday. Additionally, I've attended almost all the meetings. I've studied the issue, listened for and against this project. I'm opposed to this project for the many, I'm opposed to this project, and the many Joliet residents I've spoken with oppose this project. The following is a summary of what I've learned and has already been stated. What is clear, this project and the annexation agreement has too many unanswered questions and concerns. This project has huge ramifications to Joliet and the surrounding communities for the many reasons mentioned during this meeting, or during the meetings and the public comment period. This project lacks the details and answers clearly brought up and have not been answered to date, such as the Plan B for the closed loop bridge and the true ramifications of increased truck and employee traffic to Joliet and through the surrounding communities. I ask myself, will this agreement tie up Joliet legally when changes are needed? It seems it will. What substantial changes have been made to this agreement due to the public comment? There are legal questions and concerns that I'm worried about. This project lacks the written promises we all have heard from North Point, such as we'll fix that, we'll pay for houses, we'll pay for that road. But I don't believe it's written in there, all these promises. No matter what, this project should have been a project that included the local community, since this is a regional issue. Joliet should have brought up all the parties to the table and spent the required time getting all the answers prior to this vote. Quite frankly, I think the council could envision. Am I still on?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, I hear some talking, so I think that it's ending. So I should get a little extra time. Quite frankly, I think the council should or could envision so much more for this land and a smarter plan for growth, such as the government is willing to throw money, all kinds of money to the cities to bring back great high-paid manufacturing jobs. You could set up a technology campus. You could work on agriculture campus. I want to add that I am not a fan of this current format, and I do understand the attempts to move forward, but I believe this issue could have been done at a later date. And I don't want you to quote me on the language. You could probably clarify it, but I do believe that there's a meeting later this week or next week about the financial impact from the coronavirus pandemic meeting. I kind of think that that meeting should have been first before this North Point meeting. I'm against the project and urge you to vote no. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You have Julie on the line?
Julie, this is Mayor Odekirk. You state your name and address and make your comment.
Yep, this is Julie Erb. I'm from Will County. I've resided there for over 30 years. A lot of speakers ahead of me, as Ron said, have more knowledge and information about bridges and taxes and annexation. So I've decided to comment on the PowerPoint that we were given yesterday on Monday evening. I'm a VP of analytics at a data company, and I do a number of PowerPoints myself. If I was trying to sell a multi-million-dollar project to a community, I would bring more than 10 slides, and it would have more than a minimal amount of information on what was going to happen. Judging from all the public contents following this presentation, there was a lot of what I would call truth stretching. Yes, we all know we're the biggest port. A lot of us aren't real thrilled to be the biggest port. We are not thrilled by the traffic that this has brought us. I'm sure there's a small group of moderately well-paid people working in logistics in Will County, but the vast majority of these jobs are warehouse jobs. And as all of us know who live in Will County, because this is definitely not the first logistics company in Will County, those are not well-paid jobs. They're temp jobs. They have no benefits. They have no work guarantee. They're definitely not union. So once the build-out happens, you have a lot of low-paying jobs, and low-paying jobs does not bring nice homes, retail, restaurants, etc. There is nothing around the intermodal in Elwood. There's the Silver Dollar on 53, but I wouldn't say that it has brought in tons of retail development. We're the biggest port. We all notice the traffic. We notice how drastically and dramatically it's changed over the past couple of decades. People have mentioned potholes. I'd like to note that a lot of Will County roads don't have paved shoulders, and the trucks literally pull chunks out of the road and leave us with no shoulder at all. You can drive off the edge of the roads and you can ruin your tires. Yes, we're the #1 port. To me, as a resident, what it means is I can't walk to the metro station anymore. There's too much employee traffic and too much truck traffic going on the 2 main roads in Manhattan. I can't walk 5 blocks from my house at 6:30 in the morning to get to the train anymore. And incidentally, I walk through the loop every day too, and I can manage that traffic, but I can't manage Manhattan truck traffic. Speaking of the loop, that's the other elephant in the room. We're not Kansas City. We are not Kansas City. People might go to Kansas City if they want to get a cheap house, if they want to try some barbecue, but something 35 miles south of Kansas City is between Kansas City and nothing. Not only are we Joliet and Will County, but we're also part of the Chicago market. If we want to take a walk in a park, we have Pilcher Park. We have Midawon Prairie. But we can also hop in our car and we can go to Morton Arboretum. We can go to Chicago Botanical. We can hop up on the Rock Island and go to Millennial Park, Grant Park, Lincoln Park, or any of the nice parks in the Burnham Plan of Chicago. I can't imagine anyone with all these options deciding that they want to go to a logistic park and hop on their bike. My biggest concern for all of this is, of course, I think like everybody's mentioned, is the environment and pollution. This will bring us pollution in the form of particulates, dangerous for animals, people, and plants, but it will also bring us noise pollution. Trucks and containers are noisy. It will also bring us light pollution. In their PowerPoint, they touted lighting roads and lighting paths for the bicycles. If they aren't going to turn those things off at night, they're going to glow all night.
We have Regina on the line.
Regina, it's Mayor Oderker. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Hi, my name is Regina Creel, and I'm from Joliet. And I say no to the North Point project. That's like a diverse economic development, and I really don't think that it's a good idea for the area that I live in and the people surrounding me. There's like a lot of things. I haven't been to the meetings that you guys been having, the city council meetings. I haven't been able to make them, but I'm still not sure as to why this meeting why is it so important that this is taken care of like now when it's something that really is not as important as to what is going on with the coronavirus and all the different things that's affecting the whole world right now in Illinois mostly, but that's really not important. So what I think is that I don't think that it's a very important thing to open up a new place right now when we already have like a lot of warehouses that's in this area and they are not being used already. And with the truck traffic that we have, for one thing on Chicago Street, me for one, I have had a vehicle that I have already had torn up from driving up and down that street. I don't even take my vehicle on that street anymore. So the the trucks are going to be going up and down that street, tearing the streets up even worse than they are. And the city or anybody else never fixes those streets and the other streets that's in my area. There's potholes that nobody's taking care of. There's water sitting in the street. I think that there's more important things that can be taken care of instead of a new warehouse being open at the time. And there's plenty there already that's empty already, and I don't understand why it's so important to open up a new one when they already have a lot there. And in this area, where I live over in the area, I haven't came to the meeting, but I have brought to attention that right now over by the Knoll Park where we have the recreation center, the new center there, that street, Mills Road, and Gardner turn into Manhattan Road, you can hear accidents there like every single week, 2-3 times a week, there's accidents. Someone is gonna get killed there. With you guys bringing more trucks into this area, there's gonna even be more dangerous there at that corner with the traffic that we have already with the trucks there. It's gonna be like,
Did we cut her off?
No, we lost a call on that. We have Nikki on the line.
Nikki, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Sure can. Hi, my name is Nikki Jack, and I live in the White Feather subdivision in Manhattan. I'm a lifelong resident of Will County. I grew up in New Lenox, and I've been living in Manhattan for the past 13 years. I'm raising my family in this town because it is and has always been a safe community. Today, I'm in opposition of North Point for a variety of reasons. My main concern for this project is for the safety of my community, my friends and family, and most importantly, my children. I have 2 children, and one of them attends Wilson Creek, which is 1 mile away from this proposed development. This project brings an increased amount of traffic of both large semi-trucks and cars. Were you aware that almost the entire community of Manhattan, including myself, resides off of Route 52? We already have an extraordinarily large amount of semi-trucks that travel our roads every day. There are countless times that I have seen large semi-trucks driving in reverse on our small country roads like Baker Road as they realize they cannot cross our bridges. Are you still able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hello? Thank you. This increased traffic of large trucks and drivers puts our safety at risk from not only increased death rates from car accidents, illness from pollution, but also the unintended risk for child and human trafficking. This project brings a rapid and substantial influx of people into our communities, into the places that we call our home. This poses an increased risk for such events. How will you ensure the protection from death, from illness, or from human trafficking? I'm asking for you to think of the children of these communities, their future, and their safety. Please also think of us, the people that make up these communities. Please think of our farmers and their land that will be impacted by this project. Please think of our respiratory compromised individuals that will be affected by the pollution. Please think of our environment. Please think of our national cemetery. Please think of our national tallgrass prairie. Please think of our roads and land that are already in disarray. Please think of our towns and the places that we call home. Please think of our property values. Most importantly, please think of our future and the many, many lives that will be negatively impacted by this project. Please do not rush this decision. There are far too many unresolved issues at hand here. Please vote no for North Point and vote yes to save a community from a detrimental devastation that this project will bring. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We have Dean on the line.
Dean, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Yes, Mayor, Dean Rankovich, 1050 Northeast Frontage Road, Joliet, Illinois. I'm a business agent with the Operating Engineers Local 150. My local represents 21,000 plus members in the area, including Joliet. We rely on projects like the Compass Business Park to keep our members working. Operators are involved in all aspects of this construction, from mass excavation, underground, buildings, parking lot installations, and landscaping. When my members are working, they tend to spend their hard-earned wages at the local stores in Joliet, restaurants, car dealerships, which is an important economic engine for your local community, especially in difficult times like we face today. We also use jobs like this as a training tool for our apprentices, which they are going to be the future of our local. And as long as we have the apprentices that are coming up in this area, long-term construction projects like this guarantee work for them, that they start off as apprentices and 4 years later they become journeymen and they don't have to travel outside of Will County. So Mayor and Council, please, I urge you to vote for this project
is good for our area, and vote yes for this Compass Business Park. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you.
We have Leo on the line.
Leo, it's Mayor Odeker. Can you state your name, address, and give your comment, please?
Yes, my name is Leo Murphy. I'm a Joliet resident, Joliet Township resident. And I strongly oppose this development. I look back at what took place here since the spring. A March 17th meeting was postponed to April the 7th because of the COVID-19. Then all of a sudden, before April the 7th, North Point came in, and in my estimation, they threatened Joliet City Council, said that this thing has to be done with because our land acquisition contracts are due May 1st. So I think that's where we got off the, they came in and threatened us. You got to do it now or we're going to pull out of this thing. I think that's wrong. I don't think you should ever approach the city like that. Then in the meantime, the city says we're going to be broke by the 1st of November. Well, okay, here comes North Point with a big fat checkbook. Maybe they can pull us out of this thing. Maybe they can pull us out of this thing. I don't think we got any, unless you guys got some guarantees how much money you're going to get out of it. I wouldn't count on anything. So I guess in summary, I just want to make sure that you guys think about all of us people in the city and in the township that are suffering with all these trucks that are running around. I mean, I live close to Route 80, and it's unbelievable. Believe me, you can't go down Route 80. As far as the bridges go, I don't know if they're going to do us a lot of good anyway. But they're going to eliminate Route 53 and Railway Road. For people that live close to 80 here, it's still going to be there. I'm trusting it's going to be here regardless. So I'm just opposed to the whole development. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
We have Patricia on the line.
Patricia, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you state your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Hi, Mayor. I'm Pat, and I'm a nurse, and I live in Will County. I'm an essential worker as a nurse during this pandemic, and find this meeting on voting on North Point at this time an insult to the healthcare, stores, delivery people, food services, and all essential workers that our time does not matter to any of the council or North Point employees. I am opposed to North Point. Thus, with no consideration of our time, but your own, by scheduling to your convenience instead of around their work. I had to leave a patient to come speak to you right now, as my patient is laying on my table. I had to take off my garb to talk to you people. Please pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, you work for us. Also, please pay attention when we the people are speaking. That is called respect, sir. Yesterday I watched and listened to all the people. By watching and listening to you, distracted my attention by passing of the notes, whispering to each other, and Mayor, your constant looking at your right and Mr. Hug was quite disturbing to watch. Now, I live on Route 52, quite close to Joliet, and have faced head-on a truck losing control while in my driveway waiting to go to work. I was running 1 to 2 minutes late that day, thank God, because I would have been waiting to turn left at the end of my driveway and would have died. The truck going south on 52 lost complete control of his truck and ended up facing east and west, going across my driveway right into the creek, also on my property. Now that's an eye-opening to one's life. I wait now at least 10 minutes to get out of my driveway due to the traffic. We don't need any more trucks, Mayor. No traffic. I love the country life. After living 50 years in the city of Chicago, my dad was a Chicago cop for 35 years. Please, I'm very upset. Please don't destroy these beautiful small towns because of greed. All of the comments against North Point are sincere. please listen to your people and vote for the correct no on North Point. Thank you, sir. I have to go back to work now because I'm actually a nurse, so I have to regarb up. Everyone, please stay safe out there. This is really scary. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Dominic on the line.
Dominic, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you state your name and address and give your comment, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, go ahead, Dominic.
Hi, my name is Dominic. Thank you for taking the time to hear my voice during this city council. You know, I had a lot written out yesterday on what I was going to actually speak upon. Kind of want to shoot from the hip with this. You know, one, I'm so proud of each and every members of the opposition that have come to speak their mind. The days, the nights, months, years that we have also invested in protecting our rights, not only as citizens, but human beings. I'm so proud of everybody that's spoken up on this so far. Many of the things I wanted to talk about have already been spoken. A lot of things are clearly obvious. There's things that don't need to be brought to your attention. My children are the reason why I'm speaking. The 3 little daughters who I wanted to give a better life to, better life that I had. They have come with me day over day to many city council halls meetings. In this past year alone, all 3 of them have come with my wife and I. You know, we come from a family that is part of the healthcare field, that are union workers, that have had 40 years of ironwork, 40 years of IBEW. So I understand the concept that many of our union brotherhood have had regarding wanting to acquire work. Now, what I need to say on this is that the individuals that are speaking upon having this is going to be bringing work, for what? For how long? For a couple of years of iron work, for concrete work, to do what? To have a huge irreversible project that will be weighted on the shoulders of our children, of our grandchildren, that, mind you, Centerpoint, which you all had approved less than a decade ago, is now refreshing you, is only half occupied. So instead of filling those other buildings, those other warehouses, the other surrounding warehouses that are all, as I drive by, seeing vacant over vacant, looking to lease, we are not choosing to fill those. Instead, we're opening another project to a company that is feeding you lies on many different levels that I'm sure you all know that. I don't need to tell you that in different areas. Now, I have been part of a North Point building in the past. 3 years ago, I worked in a building that North Point had built in Missouri. I've been into the Kansas City complex that you all have been to. Now, I do understand that they built different buildings based on the needs, based on the expectations. What they're telling you is not all factual, okay? I've lived in these. I've worked in these buildings. Now, mind you, this was 3 years ago. There are still over 75% of those buildings are unoccupied, okay? It is not going to be bringing work to the community that everybody thinks is going to build. It's not. It's just not going to happen. And for the individuals yesterday at North Point to tell you, hey, yes, we have bike paths, we have walking trails, we're building 8,000 trees. 8,000 trees for what? For destroying the farmlands that are supplying the food to the mouths of people in our county, in our state, for the soybean and the corn crop that they're going to demolish for what, 8,000 trees? What's that going to do? It ain't going to do anything. It's not going to do a darn thing. Okay? I'm going to end it on this note. That this is very hard, very shaming that many people can seem to be foolish, to think that the public is foolish. Okay? This is un-American. This is un-American. It really is. To disrespect the veterans that's given their lives for each one.
We have Lauren on the line.
Lauren, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
My name is Lauren Treenstra. I have been a Manhattan resident for almost 10 years and a Will County resident for over 28 years. I am strongly against the North Point development. I do not want to see any more trucks on the road than I already do. I avoid using Interstate 80 due to the congestion of trucks, poor road and bridge conditions, and fatal crashes. Unfortunately, I need to commute through Elwood from Manhattan to Grundy County through the heart of the current warehouse district, the Center Point Intermodal Park, where I am engulfed and outnumbered by large container trucks. I do my part by giving each truck their space. I drive safely and defensively, but still feel like I'm taking a gamble every time I drive to and from work to put my unearned trust in this large volume of trucks to keep their distance and keep me safe. I have had several close calls over the years that have been frightening. Most recently, on one occasion this year, while driving on Elwood International Road, I slowed down and pulled to the side of the road for oncoming emergency vehicles, and the truck behind me did not. I was forced to speed up to get out of harm's way. Last fall, I was stopped at a red light on the Arsenal Road exit in front of the mobile plant, and the truck behind me did not stop. Fortunately, there was no one in the left lane, and he swerved around me and ran the red light, nearly colliding with my car, sitting in the right lane, obeying the traffic light. Both of these examples, just in this past year, have occurred in the evening in clear weather conditions. I thank my lucky stars every night I arrive home safely to my husband and my 2 small children and pray that my luck does not run out. Will County is already being called the largest inland port. I am already disturbed that it has achieved this undesirable title. Currently, I am not proud of being a Will County resident because of these negative changes that have had short-term payout and long-term damages to those of us that live here. What Will County needs is even less than what we have now in terms of warehouses, trucks, traffic and congestion, pollution, poor roads, bridges and infrastructure, and fatal crashes. Not more. North Point is more of all these distressing problems. No more, please. No to North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have David on the line.
David, this is Mayor Oderkirk. Can you give your name, address, and your comments, please?
Yes, my name is David Brown, and by law, I don't have to give you my address. Dear Mayor, thank you for hearing me today. I believe this meeting is not essential to the day-to-day operation for you to run the city of Joliet. Doing this meeting in the middle of the pandemic is very selfish of you and the board. I work in the food chain. Plus, I tell every day to keep food on your tables. I'm appalled that you're asking me to stop what I do during the middle of the day, keep you replenished with food, and ask me to participate in this meeting. It is so wrong on so many levels. You should be ashamed of yourselves for what you are doing. There are many great points by many of these people that have spoke so far, and I commend them. The safety issues, the health issues, air quality issues, financial concerns, not to mention the hazardous material in the building of this around schools and the children in those schools. I don't need to continue on with that. I ask you to continue to wait for all the studies to come in before moving forward with this. I'm also glad to hear from last night that the board went on their own dime down the campus. However, they got there, it's great. I have an old boss who told me one time, you know, when I tell you a month ahead of time I'm coming down, I want a horse and pony show. When I show up on my own at your doorstep one day, I want to see real world. It's unfortunate you didn't get to see real world and look at the other communities that surrounded the facility in Kansas City. We are not Kansas City. What the horse and pony show, what the very young people put down there. It's not real world that you saw. Union jobs are great, however, any general contractor that comes in and starts building this can get union workers from wherever they want. You don't have to get the local union workers that are gathering for this. As far as the 4,500 jobs that are going to be there for warehouse workers when it's built out, last time I checked, Amazon and Wayfair don't even hire union people. And why would they when they have two facilities 20 miles apart from each other now in Joliet and Monique? Doesn't make sense to me, but obviously you know why they're going to come there. It's been very disrespectful in listening to, the board has been very disrespectful in listening to public comments. You're cross-talking, you're whispering to each other, you're smirking at people's comments, and walking out of the door, walking out of the room is completely unprofessional. If you need to take a bathroom break, you should have paused the meeting and took a bathroom break. It's appalling that everybody's walking out of the meetings. When people ask for a roll call, people can't even get on their computers fast enough to say, I'm here. Your lack of empathy for people speaking is disgraceful. I asked the board to go in touch with their ethic committee of Joliet to review the code of conduct, which you are all operating on in these meetings. Is very, very shameful. I also ask that you have the board of ethics check on Steve Smith and his interactions with the petitioner of after hours doing work on the project off city time. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We have Kevin on the line.
Kevin, this is Mayor Oderkirk. Can you state your name, address, and your comment, please?
My name is Kevin Pamakawa, Commander of Stone City VFW, Post 2199. Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members, veterans, and the communities that would be impacted. I represent veterans that have lived here all my life, except for 20 years when I proudly served my country in the United States Navy. I am totally against North Point. We have about 250 members at the Joliet Stone City Post 2199. My top point would be Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery, where North Point proposing on building a bridge a quarter mile to the cemetery, where semis would disrupt memorial services with noise, where family and friends may not hear their final words spoken for their loved ones from the noise. Right now, Center Point is about 8 miles away and already have trucks getting lost in Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery and driving over graves at times. Funeral processions on Route 53 on the way to the cemetery will also run into problems with semi-trucks and cars. They have in the past. I witnessed this for myself when we buried a World War II hero. A truck pulled in front of me in a funeral procession. I talked with other veterans and they ran into similar situations. It is shameful to disrespect any funeral procession, especially a veteran. I think it is also a disgrace for all veterans that are buried at Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery, especially for those that have died for our country and the ones that will be buried in the future. Is this how we show our respect to our veterans? There are approximately 58,000 veterans that are buried there now and around 450,000 more when completed. I wondered how many semis enter Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery on a monthly average. So I went to the Village of Elwood Police Department and talked with Chief Hayes. He said approximately 30 calls a month on how many get caught in Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery. There are some trucks that have got stuck. That's about 30 a month lost inside the cemetery. Center Point 8 miles away, and now you want to put North Point a quarter mile away. North Point said in a meeting at Joliet City, Stone City Post, that they will put up more signs, train truck drivers, turn around, but all that is in place. There are many signs posted to say do not enter in both English and graphics, which do not speak English. That do not speak English. We are begging you, do not trust the closed loop system as a solution to justify a yes for North Point. Just because the rail claims they have more containers coming, how many more thousands of square feet does Joliet have zoned industrial? Plus, you are approving a project that does not have a closed loop. The project before you is not closed loop without the bridge. The economy is shrinking, and recent lift reports show that lifts are down by 12%. It is hypothetical to use the so-called closed loop to justify traffic concerns when at the same time you are rushing a vote before the intermodal study is complete in June. A yes vote puts North Point's interests ahead of Joliet residents. So if you built a closed-loop system, how effective will it be? The closed-loop system will not only be effective in a perfect world. What North Point proposes to do next to our treasured cemetery is a disgrace to all veterans, family, veterans, and friends. Anyone who votes yes to this project should expect to get a no vote on re-election. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
We have Mike on the line.
Mike, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Yes, hi, my name is Mike Bryson. My address is 712 Cornelia Street in Joliet. And I am calling to state my opposition to the proposed Compass Business Park development plan by North Point under consideration by the City Council. Thank you for taking the call. I urge you to vote no on the North Point proposal. I'm a fourth-generation Joliet resident educated in the city's public schools, which my daughters currently attend. My family and I have lived on the city's northwest side, District 2, since 2005. We frequently travel the roads south and southwest of the city on trips to Medewin, National Tallgrass Prairie, the Will County Peatone, and local communities south of Joliet. Over the past 15 years, we have witnessed the rapid industrialization of Will County's rural land and an increase in truck traffic, which has reached dangerous levels of congestion, as many per calls have attested. We care about the quality of life for residents, not just in our immediate Joliet neighborhood, but in every part of the city, including the smaller communities of the South Side, as well as our neighbors in Manhattan and rural. While I appreciate the need for business development to ensure economic vitality in Will County, it must be sustainable development. Propose the Compass Business Park development for the following reasons. Further rural industrialization decrease the amount and quality of Will County farms and associated rural communities, and increases an already hazardous level of truck traffic on the region's roadways. Said roadways are already overcrowded with traffic and pose hazards to local residents and farmers in the Illinois 53 corridor. The CPB plan is being hastily considered by the council without adequate time for full cost-benefit analysis and meaningful community input on a polarizing, controversial proposal. Land use decisions today may result in short-term economic gains, but will have physical, social, economic, and ecological impacts on the county's landscape generations to come. Many of these impacts will be negative. Development of this scale will further degrade the environment immediately adjacent to Medewin, one of the most significant natural areas and green spaces in Illinois. The plan has not been adequately considered within the critical context of broader and long-standing regional planning effort, specifically the Will County Community Friendly Freight Mobility Plan of 2017, which is yet to be implemented, and the city's Southside Comprehensive Plan of 2007, which clearly needs to be revisited and updated. Construction jobs created by the building of Compass will be short-lived. The resulting warehouse and logistics jobs will be low wage. Past history in Will County's warehouse industry is any example. Assurances otherwise ring extremely hollow. Most importantly, the CPP proposal is strongly opposed by thousands of Will County residents, dozens of community, agricultural, and environmental groups, large and small, and several local and regional governments and municipalities. For these and other reasons, I urge you to vote no at this meeting in order to take time to adequately, thoroughly, and responsibly consider the merits and negative impacts of this proposed project at a time when meaningful and direct in-person public feedback is permitted. There is no reason for the council to rush to judgment on such a momentous decision that will have huge impacts on Will County's rural landscape and thousands of residents in Joliet, Elwood, Manhattan, and throughout Will County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We have Julie on the line.
Julie, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and your comment, please?
Did you say Judy, Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
I'm sorry, my name is Judy Medved. I'm from New Lenox Township.
I oppose this project and urge the City Council to vote no to North Point. The benefits do not outweigh the risks. We all know the devastation this community will experience if this project is approved. Each of you will have to live with those consequences forever. I ask you, please take a long, hard look at the facts before casting your vote. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We have John on the line.
John, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and give your comment, please?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is John Medved. I strongly oppose North Point development. I urge you to vote no to North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Rianne on the line.
Rianne, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and give your comment, please?
Hi, this is Rayanne Medved, and I oppose this project of North Point, and I urge the City Council to vote no to North Point. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll give it a minute. Go ahead.
Mayor, as an update, I did send another batch of emailed comments to council today.
Okay, that's batch 7, correct?
7, yes.
I'm trying to respond to them, but I haven't been able to keep up with these meetings.
There's a lot.
I was, well, I think you were too, caught up before the start of yesterday's meeting.
Yeah, it was too.
And then after that.
We have Melissa on the line.
Melissa, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and your comment, please?
Melissa Wallace, 10445 South Keeler Avenue. And I do not support the development of North Point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We have Meg on the line.
Meg, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Hi, my name is Maggie Leahy. I've lived in Will County for the majority of my life. I have a 3-month-old daughter that we planned on raising in the same town we grew up in, where she could go to the same great schools as we did. This project, when fully built out, will be within a mile of where my daughter would be going to school. This, among many other reasons, is why I'm against North Point. This project will destroy everything that makes living in this area so special. It will bring about more pollution, traffic, and destroy some of the best farmland in the country. The Daylin National Tallgrass Prairie is one of my favorite places to ride my bike, run, and just enjoy the nature that we are so lucky to be surrounded by in this area. With the North Point project being in such close proximity to the prairie, there will surely be detrimental damage done to the ecosystems that are home to so many different plants and wildlife. The roads in this area are already buckling under the weight of the trucks that are overrunning our town. Not only will these added trucks be creating more traffic and destruction to our roads that the taxpayers will have to pay for and not North Point, they're also going to be further disturbing the Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery and continuing to use it as a turnaround point and are disrupting funeral processions. I think it has become quite obvious, especially during this pandemic, that farmers are the heart of this country. They're the driving force of what keeps us fed and moving not only during these times of crisis, but every day. North Point, when fully built out to their intended multi-thousand-acre size, will have destroyed so much precious farmland that we all need and that the farmers do not want to give up. I also envision me and my family growing here and that my child will have a safe, happy, and healthy childhood. If North Point goes through, I know that will not be possible, and we will unfortunately be forced to leave and sell our house that I'm sure will have plummeted in value due to the proximity of this project. I would also like to note that as a new parent, that this virtual format has been extremely difficult to work with, especially not knowing what number we were in line or when we would be called. My live feed has gone out multiple times and is especially hard to hear the people calling in when they're cutting out or their calls are getting dropped. I'm sure it has been extremely inconvenient for many others as well, especially our essential workers who want a voice. Since you decided to plow through with this vote in the middle of a pandemic, we have no one that can watch our child due to the quarantine, and we have to hope we are not in the middle of caring for her when our call goes live. It seems as though you are using a global pandemic to push through North Point's agenda while we are sheltering at home per the governor's order to protect the most vulnerable in our communities. What do you think will happen to the most vulnerable if this project is voted through? We stopped the world to protect our most vulnerable, and you couldn't put a meeting about an extremely controversial warehousing facility on hold so the people being affected could exercise their right to freedom of speech in person. It seems suspicious that you are pushing through this vote while you don't have to look your fellow community members in the eye as they voice their opposition. Your actions speak volumes about your values. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
We have Jeff on the line.
Jeff, it's Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
My name's Jeff Leahy. I'm a union carpenter in this area, and I recognize that this project is detrimental to our well-being, and even though the jobs it will provide, it just isn't worth all the negatives. A lot of what I agree with has already been said, so I'll just keep this short, and I just wanted to kind of get on record and be another voice against this point, or against this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a Jennifer on the line.
Jennifer, it's Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and make a comment, please?
Hi, this is Jennifer Peterson. I live in Homer Glen. I'm a resident of Will County for the last 25 years. I am adamantly against this project. I urge the City Council to vote no to North Point. There's many reasons that have already been listed by other people. Caring people in this world, people who are worrying about their families, how they're going to provide, and this council is meeting during a global pandemic, which is selfish and unethical. This project should not be going through. It's creating more traffic, upwards of 16,000 more trucks every single day, which is a safety issue for many. People on the roadways can't get to their homes because there's trucks everywhere. And I know trucks bring things that we all need, but there's other warehouses that sit empty that are not being used, and they could be used in those facilities prior to North Point going in and disrupting the quiet residents and the quiet town that you guys are trying to put this into place for. There's crumbling infrastructure. The I-80 bridge is a death trap and needs work, and there's more trucks driving over that, making it more of a safety hazard than it already is. You guys are chasing people out of their homes who have left the city, who have left different places to try and be in a quieter neighborhood, to raise children in a world that is already difficult and stressful, and there's still land that's not being used, and they've moved to that place to raise their families. And you're making people want to move to line the pockets of other people who aren't living there. And it's selfish, it's not right. The fact that you guys have gone on with this meeting without having to look at the faces of all of us who are speaking is pathetic. And I'm really hoping that you'll all say no and vote no and think of all of the people who are living in these towns, because I don't think you guys are actually facing what everybody else is and having to deal with this traffic on a daily basis. It's not right, it's not fair, and I'm hoping that you'll all vote no to North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Eric on the line.
Eric, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and your comments, please?
Hi, my name is Eric Siebert. I'm a Manhattan resident. I would just like to mention the fact that I oppose this project and urge the City Council to vote no to North Point. I don't really find it necessary to pile on the many reasons that everyone else has provided, really except for one. Listen, I think I'm fully aware that we live in arguably the most corrupt state in the United States and near maybe the most corrupt city in the United States. But to conduct these meetings now and push this through is really a pretty slimy, dirty look. And I think at the end of the day, you need to kind of ask yourself why you're conducting this during this time when people are out there with serious health concerns. So I'm urging everyone to vote no, but at the same time, just like I have no idea and kind of despicable that this is occurring at this moment. So hopefully the City Council votes no. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
We have Crystal on the line.
Crystal, it's Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and your comment, please?
Crystal Saiton, Joliet taxpayer. I am against North Point, the threats. We've heard that the warehouses are coming. North Point is our savior with a master plan. That logically sounds good, but we have the opportunity to manage how they come. I worked for the Merchandise Mart in Chicago, Illinois. This property was over 4 million square feet building. The Mart is so large it had its own zip code. Lease negotiation 101, never take the first offer or the second. Negotiations can take months, even years of the back and forth and the give or take. Our tenants wanted it in our A-class building. Same as North Point, they want to be here. They're beating down our doors. They need us, not the other way around. We have the prime land, the prime inland ports. We can provide them with prime rail access, all prime valuable assets. Why is this council lessening the value of our current assets? Also, why are we running through their hoops, asking North Point when we can hold a vote for them? They need us, not the other way around. Again, why would we give away our prime farmlands? We don't need to vote on a pre-annex. North Point to show at least some of the respect they had with Elwood with real plans. The amount of money this board is leaving on the table is embarrassing and a slap in the face of all the taxpayers. If you don't listen to your community, you should vote no out of pure disrespect and insult to the lack of intelligence of this insulting pre-annex agreement. And also I wanted to add, as a conflict of interest, South Suburban Black Chamber of Commerce has listed North Point as a corporate sponsor. If no to North Point, if no to North Point is spreading all these lies, why not take any of the members or the main key members to Kansas to show them a trip? Or is North Point more so afraid that they would ask the real questions and challenge them? Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Sarah on the line.
Sarah, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Hi, yes, my name is Sarah Fiffner. I live at New Fairfield Drive in Joliet, which is, if some of you are not familiar with that area, it is the northeast corner of Joliet. The intersection there is Route 6 and Gower Road, and it's just about 3 miles west of Silver Cross Hospital. I'm an RN, registered nurse, and I'm coming at you with a safety concern and opposing North Point, and I hope you all do the same as well. This area where I live is very congested. Before I moved in, there was no 355 there. It just came about 2 years after I moved in. It's a great access to the highway. However, it does cause major traffic delays at Route 6 and Gower Road. And with the hospital being right there and North Point coming, it's going to be worse. We don't have a stoplight there. It's near impossible to get out of my neighborhood and get to places during rush hour. And I can't imagine being an emergency vehicle trying to get a patient that is either a trauma, a stroke, or a heart attack to the hospital and have a low estimated time of arrival. Increased estimated time of arrival will increase mortality rates. This is going to affect us all as citizens, and if not us directly, it'll affect our families. So I urge you to vote no for the safety of the community and not look at money and as an answer. Look at the safety of the citizens. Look at the points that we're making, and please take those into consideration so we don't actually just move from this area. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Ken on the line.
Ken, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and your comment, please?
Yes, I'm Ken Wilhelmy, live at 24705 Manor Drive in Shorewood. I'd like to thank the Joliet City Council for this opportunity to speak in support of the North Point Logistics Park. As I said, my name is Ken Wilhelmy, and I am speaking on behalf of Deconstruction, which is located in Coal City. We are a union firm that employs approximately 500 men and women, mainly from Will and Grundy counties. We are a heavy and highway construction firm that builds bridges, installs underground sewer, installs new roads and parking lots, and rehabilitates and upgrades older pavements. By approving the North Point Logistics Park, you have the opportunity to provide construction and manufacturing jobs for many years to come. For every job provided by the North Point development, another 7 or 8 people have jobs in support of these workers. This includes restaurant workers, grocery store clerks, bank tellers, and the list goes on and on. These jobs only make our local economy more vibrant and robust. We understand the concerns of the community when they talk about the additional traffic development rings. We believe North Point has addressed the traffic flow issue by designing a closed-loop system that directs the truck traffic into the Deer Run Logistics Park. Trucks from there would then exit the I-55 by way of Arsenal Road or exit the I-80 using the newly constructed Hobolt Road Bridge. Cars and small vehicles will use Route 53 to access the park when going to and from work. That only makes sense. The Illinois Department of Transportation has addressed the increased traffic on Interstate 80 and will be constructing a $1.1 billion project to replace the bridge over the Des Plaines River and add a third lane of pavement from New Lenox to the Will-Grundy County line. In the near future, we will see additional lanes added to I-55 from I-80 south of the Grundy County line. All of this due to the area growth and volume of traffic. The tax revenue generated by North Point will certainly help Joliet. With a new water source in the near future, Joliet can lessen the tax burden on its residents because of this additional income. There are always pros and cons to any development. The pros are jobs, jobs, and more jobs. The cons are increased traffic that is going to happen whether this project gets built in Joliet or some other local community. Trucks will still use I-80 and I-55. We believe the pros outweigh the cons and ask the City Council to approve the North Point project. I thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
We have Mandy on the line.
Mandy, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you state your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Sure. Hi, Mandy Amato. I'm calling in opposition of North Point. Pardon me, I'm a healthcare worker and I need to remove my PPE to speak to you. Your blatant disregard for us working on the front line here during a global pandemic is absolutely deplorable. I don't know if you know what it's like to work during these times in the front line of healthcare, to come home, to have to decontaminate yourself before you can talk to your family, hug anybody in your family, keep your distance from your family during this time. Yet, you deem it important enough to bend over backwards for North Point and throw us all to the wind. Your actions speak louder than any words you could ever speak. I'm curious to know how many members that went out and visited Kansas also took a little drive out to Wilson Creek to see how close this is to the school, see how it's going to affect the school, think about the children that go to that school. How many of you who took a trip out to Kansas went out to the Coldwater Farm, spoke to them, their concerns. I would also like to know how many council members that took a fancy little trip out to Kansas bothered to step in at any of the No to North Point town halls, because you claim that all of us No to North Point people make false claims, we spread false information, but it sounds to me that what you're saying is pretty one-sided if you can't say yes to any of those three things. I do believe you're putting the cart before the horse. There's no bridge. There should be no discussion. So without the bridge, that this, is very reliant on, why are we doing this? Why are you doing this to people? This makes no sense. I feel that portion of this project should be secured before there's any discussion of pre-annexation. So I'm imploring you, I'm telling you, this is ridiculous. You need to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Lindsay on the phone.
Lindsay, this is Mayor Oderkirk. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Hello.
Hello, go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Adamitis. I am calling to oppose North Point. I have lived in Will County my whole life. I work in Joliet, and I have been an educator there for 6 years. I drive I-80 and the surrounding roads every single day. I think it's absolutely asinine to think that 80 can accommodate more trucks. We already can't handle the amount that's already on there right now. Let's not forget the crumbling infrastructure on the I-80 bridge. I'm sure you've heard all these facts 1,000 times, but I'm just going to say a couple of them again. 43% of accidents in Elwood involve trucks. Also, recent events are proving a decrease in the need for goods from China. So again, we don't need more trucks. I've talked to several of my students' parents who live in Joliet, and they're completely opposed to this as well. And honestly, a lot of them didn't even know anything about it. So you guys haven't done a very good job of getting the word out. And then lastly, the fact that this meeting is held during a global pandemic seems ridiculous. I mean, aren't we supposed to be in a stay-at-home order, except essential things open? I didn't realize that North Point was essential. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Nicole on the line.
Nicole, this is Mayor Oderkirk. Can you state your name, address, and give your comment, please?
Hi, my name is Nicole Heffinger. I live in Plainfield, and I oppose North Point. Thanks.
Thank you.
We have Michelle on the line.
Michelle, it's Mayor Oderkirk. Can you give your name, address, and your comment, please?
Hello, can you hear me?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. Good afternoon. My name is William Bone. I'm a licensed professional engineer and the president of Jacob and Hefner Associates with offices in Downers Grove, Illinois. We are the civil engineering and surveying consultant for North Point and have been working on this business park from the start. Personally, I've been with Jacob and Hefner Associates for 21 years, and in that time, we have been a fixture in the city of Joliet, having planned, designed, and permitted over 35 industrial buildings, totaling more than 15 million square feet of industrial buildings throughout the city of Joliet. Throughout that time, we have worked in an integral manner with all city staff, the planning and engineering staff, and we know and understand the city's codes and ordinances very well. From a stormwater management standpoint, the park will be designed in a thoughtful, deliberate manner, meeting all local, state, and federal stormwater codes and ordinances. The stormwater system will be designed in a natural way in order to best mimic Mother Nature and provide the watershed not only with stormwater runoff mitigation, but enhanced stormwater runoff quality. North Point, whose local office is staffed almost entirely by local civil engineers, is committed to making sure the design of this park will not cause any flooding or water issues on any surrounding property, and Jacob and Hefner is committed to that same end. Thank you so much for your time and consideration today. Thank you.
Thank you.
We now have Michelle on the line.
I'm sorry, Michelle, if you can go ahead now, it's Mayor Odekirk, name, address, and comment, please.
Thank you. My name is Michelle Coldwater. Thank you for giving me the ability to speak on North Point's pre-annexation agreement. I would like to start with thanking our essential workers. Thank you to each and every one of you, putting yourselves in harm's way for the good of the community. You are what is good in this world. Also, thank you to each and every one of you who have taken their time to do research and fight this project. Thank you to our founding members of St. Oda North Point for countless hours of research and for keeping us all informed. I cannot tell you how much appreciated you are. Thank you. Thank you for fighting for our beautiful community, and thank you for fighting for us. This wasn't something I originally planned on talking about. I honestly have never seen such disrespect from our community leaders towards their constituents, and frankly appalled. Passing notes, whispering, passing phones, inability to answer questions, taking tallies, playing in their chairs, and most of all, reconvening at a time when many of our residents aren't even available to speak as they're essential workers. And I'm not even going to touch on the fact that we're even holding this e-meeting during a global pandemic. You should all be looking into our eyes as we speak. This is something so important to so many of us, and we don't even have the opportunity to properly attend this meeting. I wish you would all take this as seriously as we did. Maybe if this was in your backyard, you would take more interest. I would take the time to ask where you live, but we all know you're not going to answer my questions. So I hope you can take the next 4 minutes to actually listen to me. I have lived in Will County for my entire life. I currently live in a subdivision where this will be placed directly in my backyard, a place where I once imagined living for my entire life, raising children, growing old, something I won't be able to say if you decide to say yes to North Point. I understand over that time areas must change and develop, and I'm all for development, but I do not believe that North Point is the correct way for our county and town to head into. Not only will this disrupt our traffic, our safety, and the beauty of our small town, this will forever change our daily lives. There are reasons why so many large and important organizations have opposed this development, and I stand with the Will County Sheriff. I stand with our school district. I stand with the Sierra Club. I stand with Warehouse Workers for Justice, and overall, I stand with St. Oda North Point. Even this Center of Economic Development Director, John Brulin, has said Joliet should not do this without collaboration with your neighbors. Our voices matter, or at least they should. I wish our elected officials in Joliet, the ones our taxes pay salary to, would look past the dollar signs and listen to their constituents. Stop believing this is a quick fix to our failing budget. I wish our elected officials would look past the shiny model North Point has placed in front of us and read between the lines. North Point does not care about our community or what is best for us, as exhibited by the many lies they have told us. I do not believe this development will add to our community the way North Point claims. No one wants to take a walk through warehouse buildings. Frankly, I find that idea laughable and slightly insulting when we have so many beautiful parks surrounding us. Our infrastructure cannot handle this type of traffic. If it is supposed to be a closed-loop system and everything depends on this bridge, why are we discussing this? Why are they evaluating and doing a traffic study on 59 different intersections? Don't even get me started on water, power, internet. How do they plan to get these things on 1,260 acres of currently empty farmland when these are things we already have trouble getting and maintaining? My neighborhood is all on well and sewer. I read in North Point proposal something about eminent domain. So does that mean they can take our water until they can get city water? Joliet hardly has enough water as it is. My point being overall, North Point will not add to our community, but take away from our way of life and our already profitable farmland. I say no, and I urge the council members to vote no as well. I urge the council members to stand with their constituents instead of against them. Thank you for your time, and please stay safe in our global pandemic.
Thank you.
We have Matt on the line.
Pat, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Hi, this is Matt Marchetti with PP Farrell Construction. How are you? I hope all you guys are well. Staying safe during these times. Our address is 700 South Rowell Avenue, Joliet, Illinois. I appreciate you guys taking our call. You guys know we've been in the Joliet area for about 60 years, and we employ about 150 union contract construction employees, and we support this program, this project. We've done a lot of this work over the last 10 years. The city has been very good with developers and working with developers, listening to issues and solving and resolving issues, and we just think that this project would be good to Will County and Joliet, especially during these crazy times that we're living in. So we do offer our support. We hope you guys appreciate that and move forward with the project. So thank you.
Thank you.
We have Lester on the line.
Lester, this is Mayor Oderkirk. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Les Cheney, 1613 Arden Place, Joliet, Illinois. I'd like to thank the Mayor, Oderkirk, and the City Council for this opportunity to speak in support of North Point development. I am quite impressed with North Point's closed loop plan. I feel that will help reduce traffic on local roads. As a Joliet resident, I feel that the tax revenue from North Point will be needed as other tax resources dry up. It's hard to imagine Joliet walking away from a $1 billion development. I now work for the Contractor Association of Will and Grundy counties. This development will create many projects for local contractors and their union workers. I would like to urge all council people to vote yes for North Point development. Thank you very much, Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
We have Jim in the line.
Jim, this is Mayor Oderkirk. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Yes, Mayor. My name is Jim Baltus, Highway Commissioner of Manhattan Township, and I am calling to speak out against North Point development and ask Joliet to be a good neighbor to its surrounding communities. Manhattan Township residents regularly patronize your businesses by shopping in your stores, eating at restaurants, buying gas, or attending festivals put on by many of your community partners. Many Manhattan residents work in your city so they can enjoy what Joliet has to offer. But by bringing in North Point, you are cutting off access to people outside the city that support you. It is already becoming increasingly difficult to get to Joliet from Interstate 80, Route 52, or Route 53 because of the truck traffic. Infrastructure in our area is crumbling from inadequacy to accommodate the current traffic of an only halfway built out center point. By bringing in a project twice the magnitude, it will only cripple it. Will County is in the midst of a transportation study to find more feasible routes to accommodate this problem. Let them finish and set the groundwork for better infrastructure. Let IDOT improve I-80 before adding more traffic to an already deadly stretch of highway. Build your Hobo Bridge and keep current truck traffic off of residential roads. Do not rush this project. CenterPoint is supposed to be considered a closed-loop system, and it does not work. Trucks do not read the billboards that direct them to I-55 and Arsenal. I am responsible for 52 miles of road in Manhattan Township. They do not read the signs that say no trucks or 12-ton load limit. They are looking for the quickest route they can find. I cannot police my road, and the Sheriff's Department does not have the resources to stop these rogue trucks. North Point will only put a strain on my already limited budget to try to improve and maintain the roads in Manhattan Township that serve residents from the entire Will County area. That is why it's important for the county to finish its transportation study to help provide adequate truck routes. Do not waste the taxpayers' money or time and energy and engineers or other elected officials such as myself by jeopardizing the years of work that has gone into the county's traffic study. Last night, North Point stated they have been in contact with all parties surrounding the project. Of the 52 miles in which I am responsible for, 2.5 miles is Cherry Hill Road. When North Point gets built out, it will touch Cherry Hill on its east boundary. I have yet to be contacted by North Point for any discussions since trucks and employees will be using this road as well as Hoff, Bruns, Sweeler, and Galver roads to the south to try to find access into the development. Finally, Manhattan Township has put forth a resolution against North Point because of the detriment to local infrastructure as well as the negative effect it will have on Medellin National Tallgrass Prairie. I am speaking tonight to represent the residents who have elected me into office just as you were elected in. Say no to North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Franklin on the line.
Franklin's Mayor Odeker, can you give your name, address, and your comment, please?
Franklin Gully, as a resident here, Elwood has said no to North Point, and I believe it's time for Joliet to say no to North Point. North Point says they're a good neighbor. They are not a good neighbor. What kind of good neighbor would get refused in one town and jump ship and go to another town to try and get its approval? That is not a good neighbor. It's not that the deal in Elwood was not a good deal or a good sales pitch. In their eyes, it was a great sales pitch. But the city council listened to the residents of Elwood, and they said no to North Point. Joliet, we're asking you to listen to your residents. They are saying no to North Point. The people in the surrounding communities are saying no to North Point. Please listen. You are an elected official from the people in your town, and you need to take a listen to them. Governments are not governments on their own. They are governments for the people and by the people. The people are speaking. They do not want this mustachioed warehouse system in their community. It is not safe for them. It is not safe for them to raise their families. This is not something that this South Town needs. We have enough infrastructure problems as it is. We have enough warehouses as it is. We have 2 intermodals. They are not even at full capacity. It is time to get them to full capacity and see what happens there. You're asking us to say yes to something that is going to be detrimental to our lives in the end. It is not fair of you to do that. What you should do is just say no to North Point and move on. There are other kind of businesses and resources that this community needs that you can be voting on. The land is already locked between Elwood and Joliet and Jackson Township and Manhattan to the south. There is no need for Joliet to swoop in and take locked land and put a infrastructure system in that is not going to be good for the community. You have to be good neighbors, Joliet. You have to be good neighbors to the surrounding communities and say no to this project. It is not good for the people that will be impacted by it. North Point has bought 103 acres and annexed it into Joliet already, and they do not plan on doing anything with that 103 acres, as you can tell. Their whole plot was to get this 1,600 acres into Joliet so they can build their business park. It is not a good neighbor. A good neighbor would not do such things. There are things that's needed in the community and the surrounding communities that could be built. Grocery stores and other small businesses could be built there. We do not need this big, giant, billion-dollar company to come in and promise you the world and give you nothing. Thank you, Joliet Council. Please vote no to North Point.
Thank you.
We have James on the line.
James, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Yes, my name is James. I live near the Joliet Speedway. I am against North Point for various different reasons, but the one thing is the two letters in the alphabet, INF, if the bridge is built. There is no reason to vote on this now because there is no decision on the bridge. Also, 2 years ago, the state resurfaced Route 52. In 2 years, that road has already crumbled to the point they have out there patching it every single day. With nobody at work right now, the amount of trucks on these roads is more visible than ever. On an average day, we have 50 to 60 semis going back and forth in front of our house. Now, this is only going to make the matter worse if you approve this park. The other thing that's of interest to me is looking at the amount of square footage that North Point is going to build, along with the warehouses that are planned for the old Joliet Country Club. In the city of Joliet, currently, and what's planned, there would be the approximate of 3,000 to 4,000 square feet of warehouse for each of the 146,000 residents of Joliet. And that doesn't include the warehouses that I don't know about in Joliet. This is just what's on the table now and what I know currently exists. So please, take a moment and think this through. North Point is not going to be good for Joliet and the neighboring communities. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
We have Rochelle on the line.
Rochelle, is Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address,
Hello?
and make your comment, please?
My name is Rachel Steffes, and I am calling today urging all of you to vote no to North Point. I have loved living in Will County and loved being able to raise my 2-year-old son in a small town environment. I am hoping today to be able to raise my future children in Will County as well, but it's not looking like that's going to be possible, is it? If you vote yes to North Point, my family, along with many others, will have no choice but to move out of this county. Have you drove around and looked at all the houses up for sale in Manhattan, Elwood, and Joliet? That's not just a coincidence. And there's more to come if you vote yes. For 2 years now, my husband and I have made ourselves sick trying to decide whether or not to stay on our amazing 10-acre of farmland here in Will County or to get out now before North Point completely destroys our county and way of living. If you vote yes, we will have no choice but to leave. I refuse to raise my child and future children in an area full of nothing but pollution, noise, traffic, and with representatives that do not uphold the democratic process. I will refuse to live in this county and pay your salaries with my hard-earned money when you don't even represent the people you are working for. With that being said, I don't see much hope in any of you. After the act of complete disrespect and disregard of common decency you, Mayor, and all other councilmen displayed last night, I am completely appalled and disgusted. I hope today you are all able to be an example and won't be breaking the 6-foot distance rule by whispering sweet nothings into each other's ears again, falling asleep, getting up, and passing notes back and forth. I hope you got a good night's rest and are ready to uphold the oath you all took. Please, we are all begging you to make the decision that is right for the people of Joliet and not just the town in your bank account. Vote no to North Point. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That was the last caller.
Okay. Do you have a tally where we're at?
I've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 118, 26, about 140 we've been through. I don't know how many either didn't answer or
Right.
decided not in this
I
session.
believe, according to Dave Brainer, 183 out of 303. So
Okay.
183.
I talked to Councilman Turk earlier. He'll be unavailable until he gets off work at 4. And I thought maybe we'll start at 5:30 tomorrow, unless someone has a better idea.
Are we meeting tonight?
Well, yeah, I'm talking
Oh,
about this
okay.
meeting, yeah.
Gotcha.
This public hearing.
I have a conference call at 5.
What time will you be available?
Is he working tomorrow?
Yeah. It'll have to be sometime tomorrow evening.
I don't know. I'm not how long. I'll say 6:30. Will that work?
Sure. For Don, is that good, 6:30 tomorrow?
Yeah.
Sure.
Betty, is that good?
Yes, ma'am, that will be good.
Sherry, 6:30?
Yes, anytime works for me.
Mike, you're good with that too?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So we would need a motion to suspend the hearing and reconvene tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Tomorrow is April 15th.
So moved. Second.
Been motioned and seconded to suspend the hearing for Council Memo 222-20, which is a resolution approving and authorizing execution of a pre-annexation agreement for 1,260 acres with Eastgate Logistics Park Chicago LLC for Compass Business Park, and reconvene on April 15th, which is tomorrow, at 6:30 p.m. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Pullman. Aye. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Back at 5:30, Steve? Yes, sir. Okay.